on YouTube sword community. So this is going to be the 2-week update on the RoM Fukyo Katana. It's going to be a pretty quick one. There really hasn't been any issues with it. Everything stayed rock solid for the most part, and I've been cutting with it on and off camera for 2 to 3 weeks now. So it's been definitely getting put through its paces. Definitely kind of like fucking seeing what it can do. And I've been really impressed with it. Stock sharpness is really, really impressive on these swords usually. Like I said, I've had 4, and 3 out of 4 have been almost perfect edges. The 4th being, just need a little touch up, but yeah, they've all been really, really good factory edges. And I've been consistently showing the sharpness of this thing after cutting sessions on bottles. Some of you guys might have seen my paper video. So, I mean, this thing is no joke. Like, straight out of the box, it's ready to rip. Haven't really had any issues. The blade stayed solid. No chipping, no rolling. The double bowhee is a really cool factor. But, I mean, it's really just an aesthetic thing. I haven't found it to be any lighter than, like, my shinogi or my shinogi with a bowhee. It's just kind of an aesthetic. Very cool, though. Not a lot of companies offer it. But, just so you guys can see, like, everything stayed solid. You're not going to see any movement. You know what I mean? You're not going to hear any movement. These knots have stayed really solid. You can kind of see the Hishigami sticking through a little bit there. But, I mean, that's really the only spot on the sword. Everything else has stayed really solid. There's a little bit of chipping on, like, the mouth of the saya on that black paint. I mean, the wood itself is there, but the paint's chipping off. It's like they painted over it, and the black didn't really want to adhere. Having the same kind of issue down here. But now keep in mind, $200 sword with a lot of bells and whistles. So you're not going to have the horn on the ends of the saya, but you do get a really well-shaped tsuka that uses Hishigami and silk. I did test this fiber; it is silk. Yeah, I've been really impressed with this thing, man. Just right out of the box, it fucking rocks. Didn't need anything. And it's a really light and nimble sword. Like, I've done a lot of one-handed stuff, I've done a lot of draw cuts. This thing has performed excellent for the price that they're charging for it. I really think that RoM has just, like, continuously stepped their game up and continuously put out a good product for the price point that they like to sit in. And I really don't have anything bad to say. Yeah, I mean, I've spent my own money with these guys. I've gotten, like, a couple review samples that you guys have seen, but, the katana I just gave away, that was one of the ones that I purchased myself. I have their Kurodo Shidao, purchased that myself, and I purchased this knife myself also, which I'm trying to take out one-handed. There we go. But, I mean, look at the hamon on this knife. Like, these guys do a fucking killer job, man. Big fan of what RoM's doing. These are great swords to start. These are great swords, pad out the collection. And these are just great, cutting blades. Like, really, really, really good factory edges. And that's half the battle a lot of the times with these swords. Sometimes you get something that looks really nice, and it's just not sharp, and it's not doing what you want it to do. And it's difficult to learn when your tool's fighting you. So to have a tool that's ready to go right out of the gate is definitely a positive. So I would definitely recommend these if you're on the fence with them. It's not, like, as far as katana go, I know it's not hundreds of dollars isn't, chump change for anybody, especially right now. And but as far as katanas go, these are on, like, the cheaper end, but they're cheap and they're good, and you get a lot for your money. Through hardened blade, I mean, I'd prefer to see it differentially hardened, but through hardened blades have their place, and this definitely does a good job of what it's designed to do. Support that, super sharp edge that they put on it. And then, like, the silk and the Hishigami in the wrap is huge. Like, you don't see that for $200 ever. And the fact that the tsuka is shaped as well as it is like really fucking impressive. Like, I'm not a big guy, and like I can like fucking palm this thing. So it's yeah, very impressed with it. I'll put a couple cuts with it on the end of this video, just so you guys can see kind of like what it's been doing. But yeah, 2 weeks with it, still rock solid. Save for a couple small little aesthetic things, but functionally still a beast. You guys have seen me do a bunch of cuts with this thing at this point. So it's been put through its paces, cutting things that swords are supposed to cut so far. So been very happy with it. Really don't have any complaints. Like I said, I'd like to see it maybe be differentially hardened, maybe use bullhorn on the saya, but of course all that stuff is gonna drive the cost up. So for $200, I think you're definitely money well spent here. So that's gonna be my 2-week update, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if I ever gave you guys the specs on this blade, probably not. But just to go over it one more time, through hardened spring steel on this guy. Shinogi Zakuri geometry, double bohe. 27 and 3/4 inch blade. I know it says 28 on this site, but these are handmade products, so that's going to vary a little bit. So it's 27 and 3/4 on the Nagasa here, and then on your tsuka, 10.5, which is your standard fare, usually in production katana. But yeah, man, really happy with it. Really impressed with the stuff that RoM's putting out. Highly recommend. Space Ghost out. Here's some cutting footage.